and welcome to another amazing episode of Beyond Parody. There is so much to get to today. We thank you all for joining us. I am joined by Joel Abbott, who is the editor-in-chief of Not the Bee, and Travis. See, we got to figure out looking up. Who is the
I have to remember to talk.
Man writer.
Everybody's watching this, so hello.
Hello. Man writer at the Babylon Bee. I love that. And Mr. B over here, our tech guru. We are not joined. Man guru. We are not joined this week by Dan Dillon, who had some stuff come up. Dan and I apparently are not going to be on camera at the same time for a few weeks because life just keeps slamming us in the face. So
are we even sure you're not the same person? Like I've never seen you both in the same room at the same time.
I haven't either, so we'll have to figure it out.
Dan looks good in a blonde wig. Look at that.
I was going to say, it's very convincing.
I had a lot of surgeries. We just keep toggling back and forth. There is a lot to get to this week. Some interesting stories, some funny stories, and some really tragic, awful stories. So I know our audience is dying to get to the nitty gritty of the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce engagement. So let's talk about that for at least the next 45, 50 minutes.
No,
just kidding. I don't think anybody on this video call, who's a Swiftie here? Do we have any rabid Taylor Swift fans? Crickets?
Absolutely not.
I mean, I've heard some of her songs and they're catchy. I'll admit it. I like them a little bit. Some of them.
I stopped listening. Like the last one that I heard was the teardrops on the guitar, and my daughters sometimes will sing the Shake It Off song. Oh, yeah. But I try to insulate them from Taylor Swift as much as possible. It's difficult.
I like Taylor Swift. I guess I'm not a rabid Swiftie. I like any self-respecting blonde American woman. I have her on my running playlist, and when I run, I listen to her classics. But I think it's great. We'll just say that. I think the more marriage, the better. The more committed couples. She's not. I mean, when it comes to pop stars, she's relatively wholesome. She didn't go through a crazy, whatever phase like Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry and Lady Gaga. She's not this spectacle. She writes her own music. I'm
thinking of the Homer Simpson where he's leaning down to Bart. Yet, like she hasn't done that yet. Hey. Like, have you seen Britney? She could go through a Britney Spears phase where there's knives going around. You never know.
She just keeps holding it together though. So congratulations if you're listening to this podcast, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. We here at Not the Bee would like to extend our congratulations to you and wish you the very best. And I hope it kicks off a giant marriage and baby boom in the United States. That's my hope.
And,
I hope
and
it
go
inspires.
over to our site if you want all the funny memes, because there were some great memes that came out of it.
Yeah, if you didn't see the proposal pictures, I thought they were great. It was everything that my 16-year-old girl heart could want. Roses and a giant ring. And
this is how we know you're not Dan.
Wait. We have a cat. Travis, what was that?
Right.
Did you just birth a cat?
just all of a sudden a random cat.
Cat appeared.
He came up to my leg, so.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh, there
you
he
can't
is.
See, Travis has a gray kitten on camera. All right.
It's a blind kitten.
This is the Taylor Swift and kittens segment of the podcast. It's a great way to lead out. It makes it very wholesome. I don't know if we need to go much more into detail than that, other than more power to you. Get married, have lots of babies.
Good for them. Yeah. I think someone asked Trump about it and he just said, I wish him well. He's a great athlete. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. Get married.
I don't know. I don't really even watch football. So sure, I'll take their word for it that he's a great athlete. He has, we share a name. He has my name.
You do share a name.
So,
this is true.
It's true.
We should have him on just for that. Have Travis come on and talk to Travis.
I highly doubt he would come on our program.
All right. So moving on from that, of course, there's a lot of other stories in the news. And the big one this week that broke yesterday morning is the horrific shooting at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. This hits on so many levels as a mom, as someone who's very deeply involved in a religious community, reading the stories. And first, just at the top, I want to say, at the core of all of the, I don't know what the word is, the punditifying, the newsifying of this story is the fact that there is an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old child, 2 children who have died in this horrific act. And I think the focus should always be on the victims and what we can do as a nation to wrap our arms around the community, and in this case, the Catholic community. And they have not been unfamiliar to these kinds of attacks in the last few years. And my heart goes out to the families, to the victims, and to everyone who was involved. Honestly, all the kids who were there, the survivors who have now had to go through something like this at such a young age, it really hits home. And I know we have a lot of thoughts on it, but just at the top, I want to just say that that's where my thoughts are right now, are with the victims. And as it unfolds, we go on Twitter X, and we read all of the cancel. Sorry, I'm dead naming Twitter. We see all of the stories coming out, and I jumped on immediately yesterday and started reading, the details. It was a shooter who had very meticulously planned out this attack. It was someone who was deeply troubled, deeply mentally ill, and we know now it was an individual who identified as trans. I prefer not to name perpetrators of mass shootings, as that gives them notoriety. But we know it is someone, it's a man 23-year-old male who went through a social gender transition at some point. Those are the details we have. But in the aftermath of this, of course, we do have to talk about the reaction to this, both online and through the media, which has been really bizarre to watch. You just keep thinking we get to a moral place where maybe we've dug ourselves out of some of these holes, but watching the focus immediately turn from religious persecution to trans persecution and to all of these weird talking points in the moment, guys, let's just focus on the victims. That's my take. But the media's response has just been wholly morally bankrupt. As usual. I don't know what I expected, but Joel, do you have, I know you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been covering, I've often said there's a lot of people that want to peg things as left-wing or right-wing violence. I've often said that we've entered a time where it's less about left and right and it's more about up and down. And this guy, so what we do when we're digging through is we see a lot of stuff that we don't even give readers. So I went through and watched almost the entirety of an 11-minute video that the shooter posted. And I will tell you, that was creepy. I mean, he was like the way that he was laughing and the things that he was showing and the little sounds he was making. I really don't have any other way to describe it besides demonic. You could say he's out of his mind. Too. He's got chemical imbalances in his brain, but it's like, okay, he was drawing pictures of himself, looking in the mirror and seeing a demon. So this is somebody who understood there was something very spiritually dark that's there. It's very difficult because, yeah, sure, there's the transgender stuff. It just came out, we haven't reported on it yet, but that he regretted becoming transgender, apparently. Right. There was a report saying, hey, I wish I wouldn't have been brainwashed into this. He was super into guns. He knows a lot of the gun tubers. He was listing names that I know. He's attended gun shows, and you can't necessarily peg him as just straight left wing, but he's not right wing either. And I think you see this with a lot of the anti-Semitic stuff that's going on. It isn't as much of a left and right as versus an up and down.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
The problem is that I would say, as the editor of a news outlet, I want people to know the truth. So if this person had been a Bible-believing individual, like even if he was like a clone of me and everything that I hold dear, and he had committed this crime, I would want people to know what drove him. Like, what was it? Like that underlying sin that led him into such depravity. I would want them to know that. My problem is that I look at the media and all they're doing is lying and spinning and trying to do damage control. And it's a lot harder now because we don't have an office of misinformation in the Biden White House anymore. So anyway, yeah, there was a couple of things. I don't know if you want to pull those up, Mr. B. We can get the New York Times, MSNBC, just some of the ways in which the media responds. And you can see that there's a slant to things. There's some bias. So like the first thing was the New York Times basically saying that the motive was a mystery. And that's like in their headline. So the New York Times says the Minneapolis suspect knew her target, making sure to respect pronouns, but motive is a mystery.
Jeez.
Again, it's difficult to understand a mind like this. This person had everything. He had one of his magazines for one of his rifles, or actually, no, it was his shotgun. He'd written a common battle cry of the dwarves from Lord of the Rings. And that was written on there. He also had the defend equality, trans flag with an AK-47 on there. This is somebody who's pulling from all sorts of bad ideologies. I mean, he had something about gassing the Jews and 6 million wasn't enough. And then he also had like Alhamdulillah or something, like an Islamic phrase that was in there. So, I mean, you can see he has a shooting target with Jesus's face. He's asking, where is your God? He targeted a school that his mom worked at that he apparently also attended. And so like there was a personal connection here. And if you read some of his manifesto, it's obviously this is a disturbed mind. So we could say we don't know all of the details, but for the New York Times to come out here, you have Andrew T. Walker, who said, what is certain according to the New York Times? Pronouns. What is uncertain? Motive. No words can account for this level of gaslighting. And so to me, that's the greatest problem. You know, the actual shooting is horrific, but then the media narrative in all of these cases, it gets sidelined unless you have, like I think in this article, we pointed out Nicholas Sandmann, the Catholic kid wearing the MAGA hat who went viral. CNN called him like a white supremacist. And, the Indian guy was banging a drum in his face. And you have Kyle Rittenhouse, everything that happened with George Floyd. There's so many stories. The lie about Trump saying there's very good people on both sides. All of those things that the media does, it's just lie after lie after lie. But then they get angry at us for spitting truth, for being insensitive in the way that we speak truth. Right. So that was what happened over on MSNBC. Did you guys see that with Jen Psaki at all? Did you see the clip?
Yeah, where she gets very emotional. Tweet. Yeah, she gets very emotional about are you talking about the no thoughts and prayers? How we shouldn't call for thoughts and prayers.
Well, there was that, There was the the no thoughts and prayers, and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob, is it Frey or Fry? He said the same thing, like, "Hey, this isn't a time for thoughts and prayer." Like they were literally just praying, and so that was a little bit insulting and weird. But there was a clip on MSNBC where she was talking with the mayor of Minneapolis. The way that she phrases, well, you can just listen to what she says.
Yeah, I have been thinking about them as my own all day, as I know many people watching have been thinking about them as their own. It's so fresh here. It's just happened this morning. And there has already been sort of some effort, which I think is so sick and disgusting, to weaponize some of the details, even if we don't know a lot at this point in time. And obviously the law enforcement in your city have been keeping people abreast, including details about the individual possibly being trans, about the individual possibly having negative things to say about Trump, about some things that have been on the weapons. A lot of this is just very early reporting. What do you do as a leader of your city to prevent details from being weaponized and using this to blame something other than the guns?
First off, anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize trans people has completely lost touch with the common humanity. Operate not off of hate for any community. Operate off of love for our kids.
That's insane to me because they're just, this is, what do you call it, posturing because, and I hate to use the phrase, one of theirs or whatever. Obviously, there's not a bucket we can put this crazy guy in, but they would not be saying this if the shooter had been very clear-cut Trump supporter. And, absolutely not. Like
100%. And it's ironic that Jen Psaki is projecting because she's the one who's like politicizing it.
Calling the kettle black, like 1,000,000%. I mean, there's so many things. I thought of another example, which was there was a guy down in Georgia. You may remember this from 3-4 years back. There was a Asian massage parlor that had a shooting, and there was a white guy, young white guy, early 20s or whatever, and he went and he shot up the place, killed several people. Yeah. The media ran with this idea that it was all racist. Look here's this very white guy who's killing people.
It was a personal...
And it was because he felt internal conflict. He felt guilty for going to this massage parlor. There was zero evidence that that racial animus was involved, but they projected that. And CNN even ran like a 1-year anniversary video. It was like a 5-minute clip on national television talking about, what does this mean for the Asian community and framing it within that way. So again, and everything with George Floyd, there, didn't kneel on the neck. There was no racial animus that could be proved. And yet we had entire cities burned. So I've always been the type of person who goes doggedly after the truth. And I've had to learn when to be sensitive and when to understand that there's a time and a place to just hit people with those, truth bombs.
Right.
But in a situation like this, there is an importance of at least countering the media narrative. And the great thing is that we can actually do that now. 4 or 5 years ago, it was so hard. You had to whisper it. It's like, hey, look over here. Like, I'm just going to point you to this link and I'm not going to let Facebook know. And now we can actually say, hey, what the New York Times or MSNBC, what Jen Psaki's saying, this is actually wrong. They're accusing us of spinning a narrative when they're the ones that spin the narrative all the time. And they're doing it currently.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is they keep going back to the same well and they keep drawing from the same well. And I don't want to be like, well, just look at your ratings, guys, because that seems kind of callous. We should make our decisions based on ideology, not based on ratings, but they are not doing well as an institution. The mainstream media is not doing well and continuing to bang this drum. And I'd like to touch again, and I'd like to hear some of Travis's thoughts too on the pronoun because I know he has a lot
Travis, what do you think about pronouns?
Well, about being so adamant to get the correct gender, which is not the correct gender. He was a man, he is a he. It doesn't matter, but we do not need to respect people who shoot children. We do not need to show any respect, kindness, or I have no need to protect this man's fake identity through a news story by calling him or her. I don't care. I am kind to transgender people. And if I'm in a restaurant, my waitress has a he, her button on, whatever, I'm going to be kind in public. I teach my kids this too. But when it comes to a story like this, I have no motivation to be kind to a person who shoots children. That is where I draw the line. I actually draw quite a few miles back. But so when the mainstream media comes out and people on Twitter, people on Reddit, people on Blue Sky of all crazy places are yelling at the right for misgendering a man who picked up a gun and went to a school and shot children and killed them. They have lost all moral ground. I no longer will take them seriously they have no cards to play on this.
Preach.
That's my soapbox. Yeah. And I would assume we're in agreement on that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And actually, there was one of those tweets that was shown earlier where someone had said, "There's one thing is certain is pronouns, and the thing that not certain is the motive." And okay, but even if that was true, it's like, why are we focusing on that?
Right?
Who cares?
Who cares?
I mean, let's just. I don't know. I want to throw aside the circus. Just get to the truth of the matter. I don't really care what their pronouns were.
No.
And I don't think that's even disrespecting them. I think it's just, look, this is the facts of the case. We're reporting the news here. This isn't a soapbox to talk about transgender issues now. And that's the problem with journalists today. Most journalists, not Joel Abbott, the world's greatest journalist.
The world's greatest. I never make mistakes. Never. And the comment section never reminds me of any mistakes I made.
Oh, sad.
0.02 seconds is how long it takes to get it.
It's just they're all activists now is the problem.
Yeah.
They don't care about the truth.
Yeah.
And, I miss the days of like Tom Brokaw or whatever. Maybe he was more of an activist than I realized, but
it was more subtle.
They
all were. It was more subtle, and there was just more of a respect for the Institute. I grew up, and I think I've mentioned this before, at 5:00 every night of my life, or maybe it was 5:30, my mom put on NBC Nightly News. We watched it while we made dinner together, and I grew up with Tom Brokaw. He was, but now, you go back and you kind of look at some of his views and opinions. And same with Walter Cronkite, who's an institution. He's an echelon, but I watched clips of his recently where I think, Walt, you were pushing a narrative.
Subtle.
Yeah, subtle, but it was not on this level of, I can't imagine if Walter Cronkite were reporting the news today, he would call this man a she. Maybe he would because he wants to keep his job. But it's just insane. And the thought experiment I do, and Joel, you kind of touched on this, is look, we have the mayor here, who's the mayor, what's his name, of Minneapolis?
Jacob Frey.
Frey, yeah.
I'm going to say it wrong one way or the other.
Who said, in this moment, we cannot... we cannot turn and demonize the trans community, which I agree. I think there's conversations to be had. I wouldn't say demonize is the word, but definitely question what's going on in that community. But why is his focus, again, like I said in the beginning, not on the Catholic community? We would not, like, if a mosque gets shot up, we would say we need to put our arms around.
Double standards are there,
right? We need to put our arm, and I would say this too. We need to put our arms around our Muslim neighbors, and those, because they are the ones suffering. And then we'll have a conversation about the motives and the community behind the person and the perpetrator. But right now, in this moment, so for him to prioritize coming out so strong, it's that Norm Macdonald quote, right? If his worry is if Islam ever dropped a nuclear bomb on New York and killed millions of people, what the backlash would be against the Muslim community. It's that kind of ridiculous double standard. And obviously there's a conversation to be had about what's going on. And I don't promote discriminate. Like, again, love everyone, but why aren't we focused on the victims here in the news? Why is the left so quick to run out and say, whoa, we can't talk about the trans thing. We gotta be kind. We gotta be loving. We can't raise eyebrows.
Yeah, they'll focus on the victims if the tables were, if things were reversed. And we see that all the time with various narratives. And it is really sad. I think there's a reminder in this Coward's Manifesto, because really it's interesting. This little dweeb, he thought that he was going out with his boots on, that this was his, he was afraid of dying of cancer and dying some inglorious death. So he thought going into battle against little kids was like, seriously, this type of thinking is so demented. He just lived thinking about the fear that he could cause. He wanted to cause carnage. He was inspired by other mass shootings. And you see something like this, his greatest fear that he wrote in his manifesto, there were people translating it because he wrote it in Russian. I don't know when or how he learned Russian.
It's not Russian. It's like a Cyrillic. He wrote
Cyrillic.
Anyway. He wrote American words spelled out, or English words spelled out in Cyrillic. It's really bizarre.
It was weird.
Bizarre,
He said he said one of my greatest fears is that somebody would tackle him, that they would stop him, and that he wouldn't get to enjoy the suffering that he gets to cause people. So I always say it's a good thing. First of all, he, in terms of being this, amazing person, he absolutely failed, because he did inflict a loss of life, but with all the weapons that he had, if he was actually trained and disciplined, he could have done a lot more. A lot of these individuals are just bad shots and they commit suicide and they just take the easy way out. And you see that in these shootings with a lot of these individuals. But the main takeaway for me is, be prepared to protect. I think it's a good reminder. I literally have a blaster on me right now. Like, I can't show it because YouTube would probably demonetize us, but I have a blaster on me right now. And so carry that. If you can carry it, you should be able to carry it, unless you're in California. Protect, figure out, like, there are things that you can do. They are afraid of brave men and women that will stand up and stop them. And so within, I guess, all of the destruction, you look at the loss of life and these families that are grieving, as hard as it is a reminder that at the end of the day, love and bravery and all of these things, they win against this type of darkness.
Yeah. It's hard. And we could talk, I could go on. I'm the mother of teen boys. I have a lot of thoughts about that demographic and what's going on with that. And that's a conversation for another day. We could go on and on and on, but I think you're right.
I'll pray for you.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Got 4 sons.
I was a teen boy once.
It's a fun land. But just kind of to cap off what you said. Yeah, we need to be vigilant and remember to focus on the victims in these horrific stories. So to pivot to another story, it's heavy and it's hard. It's so hard to transition, moving on, because it is something you kind of want to dwell on and think about and talk a lot about. But there is other stuff happening in the news, and
we had lots of other stuff happening on our website.
So much. Okay, this week, you guys, we had Trump and the flag burning, and we'll talk about all of these. We'll kind of do a rapid fire. We had Trump buying Intel. That kind of happened last week and a few other weeks. There's some good, there's some bad. We had the CDC guy is resigning, and because he said that the CDC is kind of informationally bankrupt, but he references pregnant people in his resignation letter. So it's like, hey, buddy, there's Scottish.
We won the culture war with Cracker Barrel.
We won the congratulations. They repented and came back. And
kind of. They sort of repented. They said, we're going to keep the status quo, but we're going to keep all the people that made that decision without making any other changes.
Whatever.
Yeah, which they really should make some changes.
So really quick, I just kind of want to go through some of these stories with you guys because I know we all had different takes. So let's do a quick little roundtable, just quick comments on.
Sure.
Let's start with the flag burning. Travis, are you for or against flag burning laws?
I am against flag burning laws.
All right.
I mean, I'm personally against flag burning. I just want to make that clear. Because, once you say, hey, I don't want these laws, they go, oh, you just want to burn flags. Like, well, no.
Communist.
That's not it. It is a form of expression. I'm against stealing someone's flag and burning their property. I'm against, the reckless endangerment that may be caused by burning something in public. But those should be things that get targeted by the laws, not the actual act of burning a flag that someone owns.
I think the founding fathers would have totally hung people if they burned the American flag. I think most of them would have at least thrown them in jail. I think that as we talk about the expression of freedom of speech, that's 100%. We've talked about, hey, everybody should have the right to express speech. I think a lot of people, the majority of Americans, could agree with that flag burning as a form of political protest, that's fine. But then when people do something like drive their car over a sidewalk or a crosswalk that has rainbow colors on it, they're literally getting charged with felonies for doing burnouts on crosswalks as hate speech. So now that the left does that and they've said, hey, the First Amendment, it's not absolute because you can't say hate speech and we're going to come after you. This whole thing, tit for tat, you can't have it both ways. Either we have a country where it is okay to burn whatever symbol. You can burn the Quran, you can burn the Bible, you could burn, as you own it. LGBT flags. Yeah, don't destroy property, but you have this and you want to do it. And that's what we had kind of agreed on. But if the left is going to say, hey, you can throw me in jail for burning a rainbow flag, but if you burn the Christian flag or like whatever other flags, it's totally fine. It's just political protest. You can't have it both ways. So
hate speech laws are unconstitutional, and I don't know how we got to a point where we have them. And I am
Marxism.
I am ideologically consistent across the board on that one. If you own it, you can destroy it. That's all. Now, people will comment. I know we'll get a lot of people in the comments arguing. So to frame this whole thing, so we want to make sure we're very clear on this. Trump released an executive order saying that they will criminalize people up to 1 year in jail for burning the flag. But there is a caveat, and the caveat is if it is an incitement to violence or an incitement against the government or a call to violence, which that is a distinction, and it's a distinction in the law. It was a distinction in Texas versus Johnson when they brought the first flag burning case up to the Supreme Court. And I know a lot of people will argue that that's important to make that distinction, and I agree. It's not just Trump is saying, if you burn the flag under any circumstances, anywhere, you will go to jail for a year. That's not what he's saying. However, I also, phrases like incitement to violence and all of these things need to be well defined, and they are defined within the law. But we just need to be careful, like Travis said, that we're keeping our eyes on what the goal is, which is promoting patriotism, promoting loyalty to the U.S., promoting loyalty to your country, and shying away a little bit more from these kind of abstract speech debates where we get into the weeds with what is incitement to violence and what is, yelling fire in a crowded theater, all of these things.
Which is legal. Joe Biden says it's not. But
that always gets brought up as like the prime exception to the rule of freedom of speech. And there's nothing.
Here's the question. Is it illegal to burn a flag in a crowded theater?
Would violate
only if you say
safety.
Fire after you do it.
I mean, that might hurt people. Smoke inhalation. What if you set the theater on fire? Then it's destruction of property.
I think it would be arson.
So, I mean, the legal stuff is it can be dangerous. A lot of what Trump is doing is trolling the left, and that's great. Yeah. But you do, I think, in my mind. There's the libertarian argument. There's people that would argue all sorts of things. I think of it as, okay, the left loves to take things and twist its original purpose to actually persecute their enemies and wield it as a cudgel. And so you want to make sure, like you said, Robin, you want to make sure that it's really tightly defined that this isn't going to be used, that I don't know how this would be, but 10, 20 years in the future, this type of stuff, you got to be careful with it, because it's not always going to be the based in red pill crowd that's trolling the left.
Right.
If you open the door to certain things, you can't put it back in the box. So
absolutely. Like how they changed all the they changed laws in Congress and how they operated, that Democrats did, so that they could push stuff through, and then
and the Republicans warned them like hey, buddy,
it's a Pandora's box.
We're gonna you get rid of the filibuster. You get rid of these other things.
Geez.
Like we're gonna.
There are guardrails to keep one party from gaining too much power. And my concern is, as the right, and I am conservative. I'm a registered Republican, although I do have probably a lot more moderate political views than some people on the far right or the extreme right. I have probably some more libertarian views about government in general, but we've got to be careful that we don't expand it, because we will be out of power at some point. We are not going to have a Republican president for the rest of the duration of the existence of the United States. It's just not going to happen.
Newsom says he thinks there won't be an election in 2028 because Trump will proclaim himself dictator for life. So how can you say that? I mean, we've basically gone through, according to all of the elderly white liberals that are protesting out there, we're done. Democracy
and it is
over.
A demographic. It is like you said, a lot of the hippies that turned into commies.
There was some on a bridge right next to my house, and I'm like driving by, and they're like holding up signs about Trump being a fascist, and all of them were like 70 years old.
Jeez.
And it was really hot out. I was like, they don't have any water with them.
I
was getting a little concerned, like, guys, take a break. It's like 98 degrees out today.
Oh, man. All right. So the next story on this kind of rapid fire story rundown was the announcement this week from the Trump administration that they are taking a passive stake in Intel. The U.S. government, I'm going to read this just to get my facts right. The U.S. government invested $8.9 billion in Intel, taking a 9.9% passive stake in the company. The move is seen as an effort to stabilize Intel and promote domestic chip manufacturing. So that's the reason that's been given. It's they're buying equity in Intel. They're promoting domestic production of microchips, even though Intel has been kind of floundering for the last 10, 15 years. They've had a lot of bad management. They're going down. Their stocks have been going down. I would just like to say for the record, I am opposed to the government owning any parts of private businesses. There's a word for that. It's called socialism. There's corporatism, which is one of the nationalization. Corporatism is one of the. If you look at socialism on a stool legs, it is one of the legs of the stool of socialism is corporatism. And I actually wrote the headline this week that we published, which was Trump vows to nationalize private businesses in effort to fight socialism or something, because it is, I know we all have our reasons for doing it. And Trump is a businessman, and this is where he comes from. He comes from a background as a business executive and someone who buys floundering companies and brings them, and invests money. And this is great in the private sector. It's super great. But when the government interferes in private business, it stops what Adam Smith called the invisible hand of economics, or the invisible hand of the market. It's like putting your thumb on the scale, and it never works well. It never has good results in the end. It creates companies that are beholden to political ideology, and it ruins the free and fair flow of market economics. That's my soapbox.
Are you telling me, though, that like all the American car companies and our energy companies, everything that was nationalized, our steel industry, banks, all the rest of it, that when FDR and others did that way back in the day, I mean, look at how healthy those industries are now. Like, they're just super.
We've
General
never had
Motors
to bail
here
them
in
out
Michigan,
ever again.
General Motors here in Michigan, they've just been killing it. They've never needed a bailout. They're producing quality products.
Yeah.
Everybody drives. I mean, it's kind of, you can't really, it's still anathema to say this in Michigan, kind of, but like my family gave up driving American made cars over 2 decades ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of the best decisions that we made.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got a Toyota and a Honda, and and I'm in Michigan. That's like, you can't even say those things. The people that tend to get those vehicles are people that have some connection where they get employee discounts and pricing and all the rest of it. My grandparents drove a Chevy forever, and so my grandma, who's in her 90s, she still has a Chevy. But you look at nationalization. The government coming together with industry. There's a short-term like boost because you get all those resources. But then the company has to stop. There's no incentive for them to actually figure out how to do business because they have taxpayer money coming in.
Right.
And so this is like SpaceX versus NASA. Look at how NASA has totally lost its way. They're not really doing anything. They're saying, oh, they're going to take us back to the moon, the Artemis program, and then we're going to go to Mars and we're going to do all this stuff. But SpaceX, I feel like, is going to beat them there. It's going to be 2052 before they're probably going to have setbacks, all the rest of it. When you look at that, the private industry, we have 100 years worth of data in the modern world.
Right.
And you can clearly see whenever the government takes control of something, it always causes a horrible mess.
Right. SpaceX is a great example of it. I mean, I love NASA. I love space. I love the stars. I love the whole thing. I've always been fascinated by astronomy. But NASA was bleeding money and had not done anything really significant in the last 20, 30 years. I hate to say it, and some people might call me a communist for saying that, but we've been losing the space race of the 21st century. We really have been. And to have someone like Elon Musk come on and privatize, I mean, I know they've received a lot of contract money from the government for sure. But they've been able to accomplish some pretty incredible things in the last 5-10 years that NASA's been working on for 20, 30 years.
I wanted to ask Travis. Travis, as a fellow gamer, do you regret not buying NVIDIA stock like 15 years ago?
No, I don't. All that technology ages so fast, and NVIDIA's up, and then Radeon's up, or whoever the other
AMD and all the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, it changes all the time, and the idea, this story is a weird one to me because it's like I kept changing my opinion as I learned about it because I kept misunderstanding the story. So at first I'm like, oh, Trump is buying Intel? Well, then, what precedent does that set when we're complaining about Nancy Pelosi buying stock? And I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's the White House kind of officially buying it. Okay. Well, no, why are they buying foreign Intel? Oh, wait, it's Intel, the PC company. But on all counts, it's bad.
It is a little confusing.
Like, I don't like it either way.
It's the little diagram. What is that? Didn't every computer have an Intel sticker on it years ago?
Yeah. I mean, that's still probably one of the most popular processors on a sort of mainstream level, just for the name notoriety.
I'm looking at my computers. I don't see any Intel logos. I've got like 5 monitors in front of me.
Well, like Apple got rid of, they went to their, M series, their internal processor, and it is like the most amazing. I mean, I have a newer laptop I just got this year, but I have a 5-year-old laptop that honestly it runs super smooth. Mm-hmm. And I compare that to my old Intel-based MacBooks that had to be replaced every 2 or 3 years because they started really lagging. And I go, well, I don't need Intel anymore, really. I mean, I know they make all sorts of chips and there's a ton of, so yeah, I mean, they're trying to protect and they're trying to invest in because eventually China's going to invade Taiwan. Like that's just eventually they're going to do it.
There are so many geopolitical implications of we do have a responsibility towards
anyone
Taiwan.
Anyone here an expert on Chinese invasion of Taiwan?
Well, just that really the chip manufacturing in Taiwan is what is keeping the Chinese from, that is their leverage right now. That is the leverage in Taiwan. And the US has made commitments in the past to buying NVIDIA in order to, and they're good chips. It's not just like we're throwing them a bone. They're good quality chips. And Taiwan, it's one of the most brilliant moves of geopolitical survival in the last 20, 30 years is the emergence of NVIDIA in Taiwan. If people know what I'm talking about, that they were able to create something that the globe needs and manufacture it on a level that no one else is able to do at a price that no one else is able to compete with. And they've cornered the market on chips. And the US has in the past bought a huge amount of NVIDIA products. So I'm interested to see how this plays out.
To really quickly add, I understand the idea of Trump really trying to prioritize getting us on top in tech. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a valiant goal. But I thought, when he was implementing tariffs, that was kind of the way to go about it, I think. And I know that was controversial too, but at least that's something within his power. This is just, it is socialism. It's just propping up a failing company. And it really does. I mean, you kind of mentioned it, Joel, but it really reminds me of when Obama propped up General Motors. And that
was so bad.
Yeah.
And they still have nothing to show for it, really. They're not the best company. So it's just a shame. And I would like our processors to be well made and stand up to the world because they're good.
Robin, I don't know what you want to go into next, but I do have a couple of just funny headlines that I could read without any.
I want to
context.
make a quick clarification because I know people are going to yell at me. Intel and NVIDIA, as far as I remember, they both make semiconductors, but NVIDIA makes CPUs and Intel makes GPUs or something. So they're not in direct competition with each other. But anyway, I'm shoring up whoever's going to yell at me in the YouTube comments.
They're still going to yell at you.
I know. Well, there we go. I was going to hit really quick on the Marco Rubio because we have a clip, and then Joel, let's go into your. I'd like to hear some lighter stories. We have the funniest clip this week. Marco Rubio was in a press conference with Trump, and he mentions off the cuff. Let's just listen to the clip. It's cute and it's funny. Mr. B, can we pull that up, please?
This thing about people getting married on Saturdays during college football season is a scourge, Mr. President. It's dividing families. I don't know if we can have an executive order on this. It's insane, but it's really difficult. There's 7 other months of the year that people can get married, so I just wanted to say that because it's very, very difficult. Thank you.
Fantastic.
I love Trump's little smirk that he always does. He just kind of sits there and like it's just
he's wondering if he's being serious or not because Trump's like, okay, we'll do that, we'll make it happen.
A lot of times when someone else is talking, I look at whatever Trump's reactions are because a lot of time his reaction will be like we'll feature it in our photo or featured photo for an article. So a lot of times I've just gotten in the habit of looking at Trump's face whenever somebody says something, and he really does. He doesn't. On one hand, it's like he doesn't have a large range of emotion, but he does. He's got like all these little nuances in the way that it's so funny. It's funny stuff.
All right. That was, we have so much this week. We're going to bypass our blue hair breakdown segment of the week. Joel, let's just read a few of the funniest, not the B headlines from the week. Just read us a list of some of the most absurd ones.
Okay. So these will sound like Babylon Bee headlines, but they are not. So, number 1, Ottawa Pride Parade canceled after pro-Palestinian protesters block route. That one was, that literally happened.
That's Jeff and the Sharks coming down the...
They blocked the route, and so they had to cancel the Pride Parade in Ottawa. And they were holding up a sign saying, no pride and genocide with the Palestinian flag. And so and it's like, okay, let them fight. That's fine. Okay,
That's
number
really
2.
funny.
Brit paints English flags on potholes to get government to fix them. So
I saw that.
This has been going viral. There's people putting up flag. It's the English flag, and the government doesn't like that because they call it racist or white supremacist, and they allow the immigrant groups to put up their flags. And so there's a bunch of memes going around on British media and social media right now of, hey, you want to have the government fix something? Just paint. Somebody had a picture of this woman who painted her old couch with the English flag, and immediately 2 people come and take it away. So
it's creative. I'll give them that. It's
British humor. I love it. Number 3. Car thief stops for gas during high-speed chase, still manages to evade LAPD. So that actually happened. It was like a 3.5-minute long stop at a gas station. The guy could have gone inside, gotten a 6-pack, bought some cigarettes, and come back out, and he still managed to escape them.
Nobody got him.
Nobody got him.
They need to change the way they chase criminals in LA. It's garbage.
Yeah, it's just weird the way that they hang back and they follow them, and it's and then the last one is Burning Man's orgy dome destroyed by act of God. So that actually happened. They were advertising. They always every year, the Burning Man, they pushed the limits of depravity, and there was this huge windstorm that just ripped the entire tent that they literally labeled the orgy dome to pieces. So I just said that as predestined in God's sovereignty from eternity past, the Burning Man Festival's tent of unfettered debauchery was blown away in a dust storm.
These will be the stories in like 2,000 years that will be written into our canon. These will be the stories that kids are studying in school about, the acts of God at the
ancient
orgy.
Website relics. Like this must have been very important to them.
The pagan ceremonies and the wrath
Nevada
of God.
desert and the Nevada wrath of God. Yeah. Well, it just had I have a picture of, Charlton Heston as Moses there because it feels they're in the desert. It feels very like the golden calf,
Oh, it's very, very much golden calf. Moses comes down the mountain and goes, what are you guys doing?
What are you guys doing? Knock it off.
That's really funny.
Anyway, those are some headlines from this week that are a little funnier.
All right, Travis, we're going to head on over to our forum. For those listening who might not know what the Babylon Bee Forum is, you can join. You today can join the forum and pitch headlines. And sometimes they get published, and a lot of times they get featured. And featured means they're housed on the front page of the website, but they don't have an article associated with them. So Travis, why don't we start with the featured page? These were the ones that were featured on the homepage this week. Take it away, Travis.
Sure. So this one's from Kurgel. Oh no! College dorm lacks magical drawer that automatically fills with clean clothes.
Oh man, that would have been
nice.
As a
mom, I feel that one.
That would be super helpful. Mm-hmm. This one's from Unlocked Milk. Report: toddler horrified to learn it's bedtime.
Yes.
Accurate.
It's always a struggle. All right, these are good. Yeah, let's do a couple of these.
Oh, that first one. Sorry, I'm laughing before we even read it.
All right, Travis.
This one's from ShowQuest. Prayer doesn't work, says liberal who doesn't pray or work.
Man, isn't that true?
That's a good one.
That's really on the nose.
I like that one. From LPA the Human, Kanye West interrupts the wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Hold up. I'm going to let you say I do. But first.
Oh, man.
Beyonce had the best celebrity wedding of all time. That's good. I like these.
I like that. From The Raider, whosoever can lift this barbell will be given the power of New York.
We didn't talk about that.
You publish some of these. These are great.
These are really good.
Mom Donnie couldn't even bench press. What was it, 130?
135 pounds, yeah. From Don't Slow the Earth, Travis Kelce concerned after James Comey posts another mysterious shell formation.
Oh, no.
I don't get this one.
86, 87.
Is that his number, his jersey number?
That's his jersey number,
with the picture. Okay, I'm smart. I know sports.
Yeah, and you remember when he posted that and got under investigation?
Oh, yeah, I know the Comey reference. Oh, yeah.
Okay. From SKP, Baltimore mayor says, if you like your crime, you can keep your crime.
I like that. That's very clever. All right, should we do one more and then do I'm Feeling Lucky?
Sure. From Aloha Raichu, man adds no breakup songs clause to prenup. That's smart. Travis I like that one. Man, these are all good.
That is smart. You do have to wonder. I don't want to bring it full circle back to Taylor Swift here, but I do have to wonder. She's famous for her breakup songs. Mm-hmm. So if, let's say, it's a celebrity wedding, you never know. I would hope that they settle down. They have a gazillion children, but they just have a solid marriage for decades to come. But being a celebrity wedding, you do have to wonder if 10 years from now or 5 years from now or 3 years from now, things sour, what's the breakup song going to be like?
Yeah, I was trying to pitch a headline where Travis didn't really want to marry her, but he's like, I do not want a breakup song, so I have to go all in on it. He's like settling.
Man has to get married to pop star so that he doesn't endure a breakup song.
That's great. All right. Mr. B, would you mind hitting the I'm Feeling Lucky button? This can be, oh my gosh, they're always novels. You guys,
they're always so long.
They're always so long.
Okay, 20 words or less.
Are you going to make it through it?
All right. Yeah. From Tuck, Donald Trump agrees to perform wedding ceremony for Travis and Taylor, also agrees to serve on weekends as greeter at Cracker Barrel, and will join National Guard unit that deploys to Chicago to fight crime in the streets.
There's a lot going on there. Someone said never put a period in your headlines.
So the joke is that Trump is doing a lot, but I almost feel like it would work better with Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio,
he's doing the whole he's basically mowing the White House lawn now. Yeah. In addition to all his
we didn't show that clip. He had a good in that same.
He did have a good quip on that.
Clip, he had the joke about how he had 3 jobs or something for Labor Day. Yeah.
That's for Labor Day. Yeah.
From SKP, British government plans to address decreasing birth rates with audacious dual-pronged strategy of immigration and immigrant rate gain.
Oh, that's dark.
That's a hard one. Well, it's dark because it's dark satire, but it works.
It's
that's
true,
the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's awful.
The sad thing is that
do we want to end on that note, or do we want to refresh the page again? And
One more.
From Barnum, environmental activist meets untimely death after failing to persuade lions and zoo to change to vegetarian diet. I'll take that one. That's a good rim shot.
That's light.
That is good. It's always good to end making fun of the vegans and the climate activists. It's always like, if you're if I'm going to bed and I'm reading through memes, and you get a lot of I'll read memes in different, especially gun groups, you get the ex-military guys who just go straight to the dark humor. But if you end on memes that are making fun of vegans, it's I can go to sleep now.
Yep. It's what do they call it? A unicorn chaser. We do a lot of those. We watch a lot of horror movies in our house. I love horror movies, but I have to always all right, put on a 5-minute clip from The Simpsons or an Arrested Development clip or something fun. Just to cleanse the mind so I can go to bed.
Since you mentioned horror movies, did you see Smile?
Mm-mm. Is it new?
Watch Smile.
Okay. I'll add it to my list. We like good recommendations. I will add it. New or old?
It's new-ish. There's a sequel already, so.
Okay. All right, B, on that note, do you have some questions for us this week?
Yes, Robin, we'll start with you. So I know you have a crazy, crazy daily routine, but what brings you peace in your daily routine?
That's a good question. I have 5 kids.
Do you have anything that gives you peace?
I do have some little survival tactics. A couple of things, and all of this sounds ridiculous, but when I'm getting really over my skis during the day, I have found if I'm home, the best thing to do is to take my phone and I literally will walk in my bedroom and throw my phone on my bed and walk out and shut the door and just focus on what's happening. Like if I am trying to answer texts and coordinate with people online and manage my house, it gets overwhelming. So a lot of days to bring peace to my mind, because I have ADD, like literal diagnosed ADD. I got diagnosed when I was 7. I know ADD is super trendy right now, but I've had it legit for many years. If my phone dings, I'll pick it up no matter what I'm doing. And so I have had to train myself to literally put my phone in a different room. And just then, like at dinner time, at other times of the day, when I need to be with my kids and focus on my family, to not be anywhere near my phone, because my phone can trigger me real quick. If I jump on Instagram real quick and someone shares something stupid or X or whatever, I get in this tailspin. Also, I garden. And my garden is my sanctuary. And I do it with my kids. My son and I are growing giant sunflowers this year. And we have this whole grove of giant sunflowers in the back of our yard. And he and I go out every day and measure them because we're going to enter them in the fair, the state fair in a couple weeks. And I have tomatoes growing. I pick the tomatoes. I take my toddlers out in the backyard and we harvest strawberries and tomatoes every day. So being outside and being in my garden is huge for me. It's why I grow a garden. It's not because we're saving money.
No technology and breathing fresh air and getting sunlight. That's nice.
Just the basics. I don't have any crazy.
Yeah, but is it not having your phone, or is it the act of throwing your phone onto the bed?
There is something very physical about throwing it away. I've tried to get my kids to do this. Like take your phones and throw them in your room and shut the door. Because when you throw it, you feel like you can't pick it back up, right? It's like a very dramatic act. Like it's done. It's out of my hair. I'm not going there. So that's me. That's what I do.
Okay, Travis, what is your strongest political opinion right now today?
Strongest today, right? I don't know. I mean, I thought the flag burning one was kind of strong, but and we talked about that already.
Like what keeps you up at night? And you believe in something so strong to fix it.
I guess nothing is keeping me up at night. I sleep pretty well.
Gosh, that's nice.
I'm not too concerned with what Washington's up to. I mean, illegal immigration being so prominent was a problem, but it's being taken care of. So Trump is really rocking me to sleep like a baby lately. Maybe
I agree with
Intel
that.
Thing.
Maybe
I'll say, Trump, stop nationalizing Intel, and that'll wake up in a cold sweat tomorrow.
Maybe for the picture of this episode, we'll have Trump rocking a baby
Travis.
with your face on it.
Please do that.
Don't grok that.
No, definitely don't grok it.
Don't grok it.
Man, it won't look like me. I'm not famous.
He'll give you 4 arms.
That's
7 fingers.
Yeah, little baby Goro or something.
So, Joel, on that note, what's your favorite accomplishment of Trump so far?
My favorite accomplishment so far?
There's a lot, but which one, if you had to pick one?
Yeah, I mean, I think the deportations, that's that's the biggest thing. If you don't control crime, you don't have deportations, you don't have a country. You can debate how we're going about that and what policy should be and exactly how many people should be deported and all the rest of that. But under the last administration and really under the last 30, 40 years, it's just been, hey, come on over here. And, we're economic zone A and we'd love to have you. And we're realizing now we have to have a nation. So that is what, like, the number one thing. And I didn't used to think that. I used to think, there's so many other things we need to focus on. But I don't think that you can, even when it comes to elections, when it comes to having any type of shared identity as a country, when it comes to who's making our laws, if you don't stop that, then you don't really have anything else. So that's what I would say.
I agree with that.
Nice.
I personally love whoever is tweeting over on like the White House and Homeland Security. They have like a bunch of 22-year-olds that are out there. They've got like the heat map and somebody will say something and they'll just put the heat map up there and say opinion dismissed.
And they broke Gavin Newsom, which is really funny.
They broke Gavin Newsom, who just is basically, he's like, he's become a parody of Trump. Like, he's acting like Trump. He's tweeting like Trump.
But he's not. He just doesn't have the cadence. You can't. There's only one Trump.
I'm pretty sure they're using AI. There's a lot of M dashes in those tweets. I think they're using AI personally. That's my conspiracy theory. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's on that note. B, anything else for us?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And a big plug to both like and subscribe to Not the Bee, like this video on YouTube, and leave a comment. Comments, A, we love to engage with you guys on the comments. And B, the comments help the robots notice us. So if you could like this video and comment on it, that would be huge. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for being part of the show. Until next week, this is Beyond Parody.